Oh boy, the financial and meme world is ablaze with the latest crazy financial and geopolitical news that is breaking right now that I think could be perfectly represented by this meme.
Slap Jesus. He's got that nickname for a reason.
Slap Jesus doesn't mess around.
Get him out of here!
No coach.
Oh, Lordy, as the world now is celebrating in the West, Donald Trump's bold strategy that now a lot of his biggest critics are calling, quote, genius. This, as there was a massive market rally as China is trying to respond in any way that they can. And it looks like we are engaged in a full-on trade war with China as the strategy that I was hinting at, that I was talking about, specifically with trying to avoid this Thucydides trap, looks like it's in play right now. And it's actually a strategy that will prevent a big war from unfolding, as already we're in an economic war. Now, you might ask yourself, how does starting an economic war prevent global war? Well, we'll tell you that in this particular video. As Donald Trump, just a couple of moments ago, announced a 90-day pause on new tariffs except for China. That's a really big deal here, as in response to this news, the Dow closed up 2,962 points in a major market rally, the best day since 2020, a significant boost from all the downturns that a lot of people were panicking and fear-mongering about. This, as this move against China is more important than a lot of people understand here. There's a lot at stake here. There's some very big significance here, as our Treasury Secretary came out and said, hey, it's China that's actually escalating a lot of these tariff talks, a lot of these tough talks, a lot of these trade talks that look like they're only going to be getting that much worse here. As a lot of people are saying, what Donald Trump just did is a page out of, quote, American exceptionalism. As, of course, he recapped it by saying Trump exposed fake allies, leeches, made China use their silver bullet, rare earths, as, of course, China also has limited their exportation of their rare earth four major key rare earth minerals, and now has a, quote, coalition of countries to fight China financially. Quote, it's actually insane, and it worked. As, of course, now people are posting a lot of very interesting memes and images right now, like this one of the Vice President of the United States in his happy, fluffy, AI-altered face saying, have you said thank you once? As other people are saying, you know, Nancy Pelosi never tweeted something like this, specifically highlighting how Donald Trump on Truth Social posted when the market was down, when the market was not doing good, when everyone was fear-mongering, when everyone was panicking, when everyone said doomsday, Armageddon, nuclear winter is how they described it. We covered it here in this particular video, and we said, yeah, well, we welcome it. Let's reshift the old world order, as, of course, there needs to be a significant change here, and there is, under Donald Trump, who told his people, this is a great time to buy. And guess what? It was here, as we have Nancy Pelosi's stock tracker saying, take this down right now. And a lot of people laughing at this particular meme here. But yeah, you never saw a lot of the Washington, D.C. insiders telling you their stock trading tips because they wanted to get rich themselves. This is a totally different kind of president, a different administration, a different U.S. government that actually does look like they actually care about the American people. As Bill Ackman, who, of course, was screaming panic just a few hours ago, came out and said this was brilliantly executed by Donald Trump. Textbook art of the deal here. Dave Portnoy couldn't hold his celebration and did very kind of weird, cringy dance moves as he announced to everyone, I'm up $8.2 million today, after mentioning and crying how he lost a lot of money in the stock market when, of course, it went down. The official White House Twitter account just tweeted eyeballs in response to Donald Trump's tweet on December 29th, 2014, with Donald Trump tweeting many, many years ago, over 10 years ago, about 11 years, that, quote, deals are my art form. Other people paint beautifully or write poetry. I like making deals, preferably big deals. That's how I get my kicks. And the White House here is like, oh, definitely does look like it, as the memes now are pretty hilarious as we have fake conversations between the leadership of China with Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. Again, I can't verify if these are actually legitimate conversations. I don't know. We're living in a crazy day and age. Anything could be possible. But you have the Chinese leadership saying, "I know chicken, mara faha." Donald Trump responding, just went up to 125%, laughing emoji, crying laughing emoji, with the guy responding, "What the fuck? You asshole." I'm sorry. I can't help it. The memes are just a cherry on top. What a lot of people are saying, very successful economic moves being made by Donald Trump, as he kind of explained what he was doing from the White House lawn here. We'll play you that clip in a little bit with Donald Trump's response to all of this, an explanation from what he has going on here. As of course, before we do, we wanted to tell you about the bestpoliticalshirts.com, where you could get shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now that should be on the front page of that website that says, "I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are I told you so." Great shirt to wear during family gatherings, Thanksgiving dinner. That's great. During adventures, walks in parks, excursions, cruise ships. Cruise ships are perfect because everyone's kind of like walking around looking at each other. And, what? I'm a conspiracy theorist too. We could be friends. That's how it works. It's a great way of finally just being able to be the truest version of yourself. We help you express that to the fullest discontent against the status quo and the establishment on the bestpoliticalshirts.com. And your support of the shirts goes a long way towards supporting this independent media broadcast. But also, more importantly, it allows you to have a voice that we have seen censored many times on behests of a lot of foreign governments that were up to some really shady things inside of our domestic political system that they were playing a major role in. It looks like those days are over, as Donald Trump just announced this from the White House lawn.
About why you decided to put a 90-day pause.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents. They wouldn't have done it. And it had to be done. What was happening to us on trade, not only with, if you look at it, not only with China, but China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also, but somebody had to do it. They had to stop because it was not sustainable. Last year, China made $1 trillion off trade with the United States. That's not right. And now I've reversed it. It's for a short period of time, but we made $2 billion. We're making now $2 billion a day. And somebody had to do it. Roger actually said it. Charles Schwab was here a little while ago, one of the great financial people, and he said he's been waiting for 40 years for somebody to do what I did over the last month.
Yep, as a lot of American businesses and enterprises have been getting screwed over by China, that is not only stealing their intellectual property, bootlegging their stuff, but preventing them from having any kind of foothold in the Chinese market because of the very grave big tariffs and central control of the economy that the Chinese have over all businesses. Now, if you're a business, you want to operate there, you'll just get ripped off very quickly. Very surely. There's a crazy story of what happened to Uber in China, as well as they were getting scammed very significantly. And there's a new series out there that kind of details that pretty well. But that's what American businesses and enterprises had to deal with, as of course the Chinese were able to flood our markets and sell their stuff without any kind of trade restrictions, without any kind of protectionist policies until now, with these policies that have been implemented by Donald Trump that clearly will be making a big difference. As Donald Trump also took to Truth Social and said, based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets, I am hereby raising the tariffs charged to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Department of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States. I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariffs during this period of 10%. Also, effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. How will China respond to this? Well, it looks like they're pulling out all the stops here. China just issued a risk for Chinese tourists traveling to the United States here. China's central bank has instructed major state-owned banks to cut off backing of the U.S. dollar, and there have been other strong moves being made against treasuries and U.S. positions as well. They are threatening, if not already implemented, an all-out ban on Hollywood films that, by the way, have bigger box offices in China than they do here in the United States here. As now, is that all that they are going to be doing here? As some people are predicting, they might just maybe try to cook something up at some laboratories. I mean, who knows? That was the CIA, by the way. With EcoHealth Alliance, Peter Daszak, and the Bat Lady, working all in cooperation, covering it up at the same time, and then preventing investigators from actually being able to find out what actually happened here as they covered up the scene of the crime with the Chinese government that at the same time banned all domestic travel except for international travel out of Wuhan, China. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying, let's look at what happened in 2020. And let's look at our kind of relationship here with China, as of course China was, according to many sources, also hoarding a lot of the PPE. And then there was a major fight over it, as a lot of people are saying, oh no, they're both Geminis. They're going to be matching their energy and going until they take each other out. I don't know. I don't build too much into that as now. A lot of questions are laid bare to a lot of other Americans that are dependent on the Chinese, that have cooperated with them, that have worked with them. As now a whistleblower just came forward and accused Mark Zuckerberg and Meta of helping the Chinese develop an advanced AI system to outcompete American companies. This is bombshell, big testimony, as of course this would highlight the big kind of danger that we have Mark Zuckerberg kind of hinting that he is in. Now, there's more to the story. We, of course, are going to be talking about it very significantly here. But we also had some very interesting analysis from Victor Davis Hanson that I think described the latest kind of maneuvers here a couple days ago in a pretty genius way, and in hindsight kind of works out really well here with his commentary.
I'd like to talk today about
China.
It seems to be on Donald Trump's mind. He's worried about their trade surplus. He's worried about them sending raw product of fentanyl. He's worried that China is intimidating countries in the Pacific and in Asia, some of our strongest friends. So what he's doing is, in all these areas, is identifying the threat that China poses and why we, with an open, transparent, and capitalist society, can guarantee our preeminence if we make changes. If we're going to do this, we have to have trade parity. We can't keep running up $1.5 trillion in trade surplus. China is ascendant and we are static. Trump comes in and he says, right now, we still have the lead and we will maintain this lead. But if we continue down the trajectory we're on, we're going to be in big trouble.
Yep, and you look at the previous administration, I think that's perfectly represented with why Donald Trump is also looking at Greenland, looking at Panama, looking at Canada, and trying to make these sweeping moves, since, of course, the Chinese sphere of influence, especially in Latin America, is vast and ever so growing, and we are enriching them. We are shooting ourselves in the foot, destroying American businesses and enterprises. And now the Chinese have also responded by creating an AI video of fat Americans working in factories. We had some comments by Dave Chappelle earlier, which were wrong. We did a video about that, which, again, we detailed exactly why here. But Kyle Kalinske just, tweeted this form of propaganda without even, providing any kind of commentary, essentially being a kind of bully pulpit for a lot of these people who aren't paying attention to the big picture here. Because, again, even though the Chinese want to get this image out there, be like, oh no. I love the Chinese music here. I'll leave the Chinese music playing here in the background. Oh, look at the fat America. No, you no work hard. No, we work hard. Listen. I'm going to get in trouble. Listen. This video is hilarious. But this is not the reality of the world that we live in. We live in a very sophisticated, robotics-centered manufacturing base that are all being automated, that are all advancing in technological ways where there doesn't even need to be a human there anymore. Everything is being done through machines, robotics, and automation, artificial intelligence. All of that is reaching such a level that whoever has the manufacturing base will be able to dominate. Trump here is saying, listen, it's not about having these fat Americans in workshops here. It's about having the means of production, because if we don't have the means of production and we keep giving China our lunch and we keep giving them the ability to take our money and we buy all of their stuff all the freaking time, we're going to lose out here. We're going to get defeated here. And when you look at the policies of the Biden administration, they were criminal. They were allowing Chinese influenced candidates to win elections, and they were paying with your tax dollars, making sure that Chinese influenced politicians were winning in places like Brazil. They were keeping the borders wide open, which allowed huge amounts of fentanyl in, which, of course, a lot of people have described as the new form of opium war against the Western world, just like they launched their war many centuries ago here. As the Chinese haven't forgotten that. The Chinese, remember that. And majority of fentanyl is produced in China. Now you have open borders, as Donald Trump said. Oh, Canada, Mexico. You have open borders. We're going to tariff the crap out of you. So clearly, Donald Trump is reacting to America being the global world power. China is getting very close to challenging that. Historically, this creates a deciduous trap, and it has always, vast majority of the times, created conflict and war. You look at Portugal and Spain, Spain and France, France and England, England and the United States. And now people are saying the United States and China. And that can only happen if China continues on their ascendance as we're staying here. China's going up. Donald Trump saying, hold on, wait a minute here. We got to make sure we go up here, and we got to make sure we're not fueling China to go up here. And that means that there won't be a deciduous trap because China won't be on the same level as the United States. And when they're not on the same level, there's a prevention of war here. And that's how you could prevent the deciduous trap from unfolding, and that's how you could actually stop the war that a lot of people expect to happen. Now, that's how you start a trade war right now to stop this. Okay, so stop this. Okay, boom, we're here. Let's focus on American manufacturing. A lot of it is going to be robotics. A lot of it is going to be AI. Let's control the means of production. Let's influence our trade here. Let's get some good minerals here. Let's start building some really cool stuff, and let's start selling it in a way where our businesses, our companies, our enterprise, our base, our people could actually make a living off of it instead of just relying on China. That's the shift, because the old system is the old world order. Donald Trump is building a new world order, shifting things up and changing things dramatically for the benefit of the American people, as there are certain Americans literally freaking out and crying about it. Dave pointed, no, my stock market, shut up. Literally, crybaby. All these people be like, it's going to be nuclear winter. Listen, the system's rigged, and there's haves and haves not. The system that we're moving towards is China having everything, and us having nothing. That's not a good system forward. Now, at least there's going to be a little bit of opportunities to uplift the American people if we keep on these kind of protectionist kind of policies that prioritize the American people, the industries here, and the future kind of economic prosperity that we have for far too long taken too much advantage of. We got too comfortable, we got too happy, and we are living in a place and situation where now things are being shaken up. I think this is the right move. What do you think? Do you think this is the right move? Do you think this is the wrong move? What do you think? What's your own personal assessment on it? Get a shirt. Speak your mind. Express yourself on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. We have women's shirts. We have tank tops. We have hats. We have accessories. We have everything. You name it. We got it. all on thebestpoliticaltrust.com. Click the link in the description below. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys subscribing. Subscribe. We just lost 1,013 subscribers. That doesn't make sense. We're in the hole. Subscribe. Click the notification button. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechanged.